I'm delighted to welcome today Dr. Madlena Kantscheff, who is a wellbeing expert. Welcome, Madlena. I'm
delighted to be here. It's a pleasure.
Fantastic. So, as with all of my guests, I'm going to prod and poke about and ask some questions, but the flow will be mostly yours because it's your story that I'm interested to share with the listeners, because every time somebody shares something of their story, it inspires the listeners. And even if we inspire just one person, I know we'll inspire more than that. But let's start where we are now and kind of go backwards. So, what sort of well-being stance do you take with how you help clients at the moment?
I'm allowing myself to take 1 minute just to share my background story. I am, my education is dentistry. So I completed my education as a dentist in my home country, Bulgaria, at the age of 23. And I started working as a dentist just to find out very quickly that serving the human health as the highest good of all. So I firmly believe in that. There is nothing more valuable than human health, right? We agree on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, serving as a dentist was a beautiful place to be. I loved it. And all the time, from the very beginning, I felt like something was missing. I didn't know, I could not put my finger on that, but something was missing. So as the time went by, I realized for myself that people desire much more. And I'm going to tell you this as well before I answer your question, because it's all relevant. A friend of mine came at least 15 years ago to my dental practice. I had my dental practice in Bavaria, here in Germany. I'm placed in Germany, on a side note, in Cologne, Germany. And so she spent one day with us, just observing us, how we treat patients, me and my team. And at the end of the day, we sat at a glass of wine, and she said something which changed my life with no exaggeration. She said, "You know what, Madlena? People come to you, to the dental practice, not just to get the holes in their teeth fixed, but the holes in their lives."
Wow, that's powerful. Yeah.
It is powerful. And this is a nice introduction to my answer, which I'm going to give you now. I'm a well-being expert with a very holistic approach. For me, well-being / wellness is a lifestyle. And I see well-being as having 8 dimensions. Most of us know about the physical well-being, emotional well-being, spiritual, mental well-being, financial well-being. And now in a post-corona times, it's very important to raise the awareness about occupational well-being. Are you happy at your workplace, or if you're a business owner, at the place where you do business? And environmental well-being, because it's very important how we treat our Mother Earth.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is where we abide, human beings. And this is how our future is going to look and feel like, depending on how we treat our Mother Earth. So this environmental well-being is something we have to talk about. And as we talk, I will be able to tell you that my work as a well-being expert has a spiritual touch. So when I work with people and we find ourselves in a dead end, hitting the wall, we don't know what to do, then I very happily pray out loud and ask for guidance and help a higher power, creator, universe, God, however person loves to call this higher power. So this makes my work unique.
Excellent. You mentioned 8. I quickly wrote down, I think I've only got 7. I've written physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, financial, occupational,
environmental. 8. They should be 8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've only got 7. Say them again, and then I'll see which one I've missed.
Physical, emotional,
yeah,
spiritual,
yeah,
mental,
yeah,
financial,
mm-hmm.
environmental,
yeah,
occupational. There are 7.
7. Yeah,
yeah,
7.
you're
Okay.
right.
Yeah. 7 wonders of the world, 7 pillars or whatever we have. They're brilliant. Yeah. So and all of those, each one of those are, we could talk for days and on end about every single one of them, but they're actually all joined up, aren't they?
They are so related to each other. That's when I start working with a human being or with a group of people, then I ask them always one question. Please share with me only one particular challenge you're experiencing right now in your life. And people know instantly what that is. It could be, let's say, occupational one. I don't feel acknowledged, appreciated, understood, heard at my workplace. And so, interestingly enough, because they are all one part of our lifestyle, well-being is a lifestyle, right? How we live our lives. So you cannot be excellent at your workplace, in your business, and at the same time feeling differently in your private life. They are related to each other. So when we ask this higher power to guide us how to deal, to solve this challenge, to master it, miraculously, in a certain period of time, depending on how people integrate in their physical life, every single part of this well-being of lifestyle improves.
It's incredible, isn't it? I know that from my own experience. And a lot of people go into the workplace and they turn into somebody else. They're not being their true, authentic selves. And not everybody realizes they're doing it, in my experience. I've been using the DISC model of behavioural profiling now for over 25 years. And we can tell from the profile what somebody's natural behaviour pattern is versus what their current pattern is in the workplace. And time again, we see the stress, the anxiety, the tension in the profile. And what I've done now, I've had my own tool created, and I use it in my wellness program to identify to people where their behaviour is getting in their own way, and they are, whether they're consciously or subconsciously behaving in a different way. But as you say, if you're not being your true self at work, it has a knock-on effect at home. And at home, if you're dreading going to work, and there's some statistics every time that research is done, in the UK at least, 75% of people don't like their job. So the occupational aspect of well-being is absolutely huge.
Definitely. And the point is, what I have found out being a team leader at my dental practice, I had 5 to 6 full-time employees. So if someone is behaving, putting the mask, just like you said it, pretending that he or she is someone else, do you know how much energy that costs you?
More than
to
being
be day
yourself.
in, day out, the person who you are not.
Yeah.
It costs you so much energy. You come back home, you're so exhausted because your whole energy is focused on being an actor, an actress.
Yes.
That costs you a lot of energy. And I'm not saying that an actor and an actress don't love what they do. This is not what we are saying, but pretending to be someone else and not being your authentic self, standing up for the values you believe firmly in, this is not the life I want to live. So
when you heard your friend tell you this, people come to you to fill the holes in their life, what was it that you were doing? What had she observed about the way you are, the way you were doing your, going about your daily dental practice?
Well, it did not surprise any one of us, because every evening we will sit down prior to what happened with this friend of mine. We will sit down and we will reflect upon the day. And I will ask every single day for years, believe me or not, one particular question. which was on my heart. We will sit and enjoy the day we have devoted to serving patients, right? And the question was always one. Do you feel in your hearts, I asked every time, that what we did today was a pure dentistry, or was it something more? And I'm going to give you one concrete example so that you know what I'm talking about. It's the starting of a working day at a dental practice. The first patient comes in, sits on the chair. I say, good morning. I'm going to say a name, Richard. How are you doing today? And I want to know. I really want to know. He gets quiet for a minute and he says, you know, the house is empty. And I'm listening. I'm a dentist. The house is empty when both girls leave the house. Do you say that to your dentist, really? Do you? It goes further. He spoke for 10 minutes and I listened. He needed to share this because both his daughters left the house because of different reasons, and the house was empty. I get that as a mother. I get it. After 10 minutes, I had politely to stop him and I say, Richard, I just have to remind you that you have an appointment at a dental practice. And this appointment has a certain agenda. And please give me the chance to fulfill this agenda. You know what happened? He stood up and he said, I'm done. I'm going home. I said, yes, I get that. However, what I'm going to bill now, your health insurance, what did I do today? So this is an example for you that people came with hearts open to share. And I, as a dentist, I'm looking for the right words. I was not in a position to serve them in a way they needed to be served. They needed someone to listen to them and to give them, let's put it right, to create the safe, sacred space for them to open their hearts, to share from their hearts, to ask them maybe one question and to invite them to find the answers for themselves. And this is not the work which a dentist is doing.
So how long did it take you then to close your practice after you had this revelation?
Well, a couple of years, of course, because you have you just don't go out and say, that's it.
Yeah,
I know it now. So I get this message. What else does universe have to tell me? You have financial responsibilities, you have team members, you have families, you have other financial responsibilities and obligations. So at least you have initiated, you have the change, you have taken the you have made the conscious decision. This is it. This is where I'm going. You have chosen the direction. And this is a beautiful place to be.
Wonderful. So how do you describe what you do? So you've said about praying, speaking out loud to source energy, etc., to help guide and so on. What other strategies do you and listening, of course, which is huge. Is there anything else that that you do to help people?
Of course, I have my programs, and I love working with a group of people, intimate, small group of people where everyone has the opportunity to be seen, to be heard. I work with 10 people, and this is the limit. 10 people is where everyone feels still there, present. I have had a Zoom call with 220 ladies, and I was the technical support, and this was a great energy. This was really a great energy. And at the same time, among these 250 ladies, there was no personal attention. You cannot just do that, even if you have 4 hours all together. So I have my 8 weeks program called Power Weeks of Wellbeing, where we meet once a week. for 90 minutes in a small intimate group between 5, 8 to 10 people, depending on how many people, which time zone of the world, because I work internationally. So we both are 1 hour apart and 1 hour ahead of you. If I'm working with people on the Pacific coast, they are 9 hours behind me. So depending on that, we meet once. I have people from different time zones which match. We meet once a week for 90 minutes. And I have every week one theme we work on. And where I feel it's very important is not just to share theoretical knowledge with people, but to bring it down to earth. So let's say you're my client and we're working today one-on-one, and I'm telling you how I feel about your challenge and so on. At the end of our conversation, it's important for me that you know what is the very next step you're going to take so that you can get from point A to point B. Because knowledge is power, but true power is applied knowledge. So in this particular program of 8 weeks called Power Weeks of Wellbeing, I have created with my business coach a workbook of 77 pages with a lot of pictures, because pictures say more than 1,000 words, so that people during the program and after the program have a powerful tool in their hands where they can get back to after the program is over and follow up and so on. So I'm very practical oriented well-being expert. Knowledge is for me only the foundation to build on. And I'm very good at, and I love it, doing guided meditations where people fall asleep even. I have to leave them. I just leave the Zoom call because I see they're in a Zen meditative state. And I'm thinking, don't touch them now. Let them enjoy the next 10, 15 minutes. They will come back to you. So I'm very much in, as I said, there is a spiritual touch what I'm doing. And this is the place where I would love to tell you, coming from an absolute pure scientific education. I was born and grew up in a country, Bulgaria, which used to be a communist country until '89. And religion was forbidden by law. I'm not commenting that, that's a fact. So building connection to God, higher power, had to happen outside of a church. And it has its freedom of building this. I'm not saying that church and religion are bad. This is not what I'm saying. For me personally, there was a freedom in building this connection to a higher power in my own unique way. So here I am, 100% scientifically educated. Everything is cause and effect, and nothing works outside of that. Well, this is not how life works. All of a sudden, when you start treating patients, you realize, there are other methods. So we are moving from traditional medicine and then non-traditional medicine, energy work. And then we meet the power of a human spirit, where a human being says, the doctor told me I have only 3 months to live. I don't agree with that. I will live the next 30 and more years. And it happens.
I know. You're looking at a lady who I was given less than a year to live back in 2015 with stage 4 cancer. And
well, I didn't know that, but how could I feel it? Because if we have 100% healing, and this is my humble opinion based on my experience as a medical professional and now as a well-being expert, if we have 100% healing, I would humbly say 15 to 20% traditional medicine, 15 to 20% non-traditional medicine, 60% power of a human spirit. This is how I perceive healing.
Absolutely. It's an integrative approach, which is what I've taken each time I've had a challenge. And I've never been ill. I've had 4 different versions of cancer, and I've cured myself of a kidney disease I was born with and told it's incurable. So I've never believed what I've been told. I've always challenged and always I've just known. Yeah, I haven't had any education in this sort of thing. when I made the decisions.
This was your
I just knew.
advantage, because
Yeah.
you didn't know what you don't know.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were open. There's a beautiful picture I always share with the people I work with. Imagine your life as a completely white canvas where you start writing the story of your life, or building the picture, or painting the picture of that. This is up to you what you do with your life. Even if you find yourself in the most challenging health condition, right?
It's not difficult to do for some people, but others it seems impossible. And that's where people like us can help, provide some inspiration to get people started. As you said, you know, you don't know what you don't know, and people don't know where to start, do they, with the don't know what they don't know. So, and there's so much conflicting information as well now, isn't there?
Well, here is what I would love to say, as you are mentioning that beautifully. We all have been, as I said, in a dead end in our lives, where we don't know really what next step to take. And I have realized for myself, it's very easy to take one small step. You can have an agenda, you can have a desire, you can have a vision. Take one small step in a time, achieve one small success, and celebrate it. Every single day, celebrate the preciousness of life. Because the more we celebrate life, the more life celebrates us. When you ask me what is my mantra, I'm going to tell you, I love life and life loves me.
Yeah, that's so powerful and yet so simple. We overcomplicate things.
So complicated at the same time, right?
Human beings overcomplicate things, and then, you know, you could unpick that phrase and talk about it for days on end, but in essence, it's karma, isn't it? What you give out, you get back. If you love life, life loves you, and that's it.
Yeah, and there will be days. I told you in a short conversation we had, I just moved to a new apartment. I'm not settled up. I was tired yesterday, and at the same time excited about our conversation, and took enough rest. And here we are with a new day, with a new energy, and we love life every single day differently, depending on the challenges we have to face and master, and we still love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know any other way. People say to me, oh, things you've been through and how did you cope? Well, I just dealt with things, but that's because I feel it's because I'm a particular type of personality style that doesn't take no for an answer. And whatever a challenge is, I will always, you can go round challenges, over them, under them, through them, you know, however, but if you have the right mindset, if you don't have the right mindset, then people are bringing things upon themselves unwittingly, because, you know, not everybody knows the stuff that we know, but we know it intuitively. And clearly, when you were a dentist, you were helping people on an intuitive level because you knew that's what was required. And that's how I've lived my life, and I continue to live my life every day. But for people who don't have that gift that we have, how do you help them to start? You know, how do you get them to do that, like one step, the one thing? Where do they start?
First of all, I invite them to open their hearts for the possibility of, it's not easy to answer this question. It depends on the person. The biggest challenge of a human being is, I have found out, I'm doing this work since 2016, so I have seen and heard a lot of stories, human stories, and there is one underlying aspect. We human beings tend to feel left alone, right? I have no one to turn to. I have no one to help me. And this sense of being left alone, this is where I would love to start with a human being, inviting them to open their hearts for the concept that there is an overwhelming power, creator, universe, God, Buddha, however you want to call it. And this power is here for you. You can turn to this power 24/7. This power is always online. And when you feel on your knees, physically and emotionally, then open your mouth. It's very important for me to hear these words. I'm a person who listens. So when you open your mouth and say, I call it divinity. So, dear Heavenly Mother and Father, here I am. I don't know what to do. I'm helpless. I've tried so many things. Nothing worked. This is my challenge. I give it completely up to you. Thank you for your guidance, for your love, for your mercy, for your grace. This alone, I'm getting just saying it out loud, goosebumps, because this is the moment where you know you are never alone. And I allow myself to give you one small example. I'm a very blessed grandma of 2 wonderful children. One of them will turn next month. My grandson, Tom, will turn 4 years young. So he came just a couple of weeks to visit me in my old apartment. As I said, I just moved yesterday evening. And he said, Grandma, do you live alone in this apartment? I said, yes, I do. Do you have parents? I said, no, unfortunately, my parents passed away. Aren't you afraid to live alone? Because he's coming from his position. He lives with his parents and now with a newborn sister, Mia. I said, no. Why are you not afraid when you're alone? And I was thinking, this is the moment really to speak out the truth. And I said, because I'm never alone. How do you mean that? I said, well, there is a power which leaves, it was important to tell him so that he gets it with his mind. There is an overwhelming power and it lives in your chest, in your heart. This power has a name and it's called God. And for his purposes, it was important to say. So this power is here for you. God loves you, cares for you, and is always here for you. Can God make me strong? I said, yes, he can. But does God love you and me and my parents as well? I said, yes, God does. So this is where we can start to invite people to open their awareness for the fact that they are never alone. You can be alone, but you don't have to be lonely. Turn to this higher power. How do we call it? There are so many angels who have nothing to do in heaven and around us. Let God send them to you and guide you. Even this are earth angels. Even this is a human being who on the street is going to touch you on your shoulders and say, you look so unhappy today. Is there anything I can do to bring a smile on your face? It happens.
Yeah, it does.
You have to be open for this high vibrational energy of receiving the gifts which life has for you. Receiving. And receiving happens on a level of love. Love is the answer to every challenge, to every problem, starting with self-love. And we're not talking about being narcissistic. We're not talking about being against the others, above the others, and so on. We're talking about we all being one. Absolutely. And from a place of overflowing cup of self-love, I can give freely and graciously love to you because it's already overflowing.
There's a saying, isn't there? Is your glass half empty or half full? And my response is always no. It's neither. It's overflowing. So that triggered that thought. But yeah, absolutely wonderful opportunity for you to say that to your grandson. And in years to come, wouldn't it be wonderful if he said back to you, Grandma, I remember the time when, and he'll repeat that story back to you. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
He was sitting in the car just a couple of days after that, driven by his mom to kindergarten. And he said, what was the name of this power which lives in my heart and makes me so strong? What was the name of that? I forgot it. And I prepared his mom. I said, questions are going to come. Be ready. Yes. And she said, do you mean God? Yes, God.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome.
So it's never too early. It's never too late to open your heart for the presence of this overwhelming power, because it's at your disposal, and utilize the power of love. I will never get tired to talk about the power of love. Approach people with love. I go out for a walk and I'm always thinking, why are all people smiling at me? And once I asked a gentleman, why are you smiling at me? He said, well, because you're smiling.
Yeah.
I'm smiling back.
Yeah. Years ago, I lived in a small village in the north of England, and I did an experiment, but it's sort of one of these accidental things. I went to the village and I'd forgotten what I'd gone there for. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to walk down the high street, and people were just a bit miserable. It wasn't, the weather wasn't too nice. So I thought, right, I'm going to say hello to every single person with a smile on my face and see what happens. And as I was walking in one direction, I was doing this, some people immediately said, oh, hello, how are you? You know, I didn't know these people. Some of them looked at me as if to say, huh? Who's she? What's she doing? And then when I walked back, remembering what I went there for, the people that I had said hello to first then said hello to me first with a big smile on their face. So I know that I single-handedly raised the vibration of that tiny village street in that moment that I was there. And it takes no effort, does it? No effort whatsoever. And it just helps everybody. It helps us when we make other people happy. We don't make them, they make themselves happy. But when we instrumental, it's such a wonderful feeling, isn't it?
It is, and it's so mutual, so reciprocal is
yes.
all this, right? So
yeah, it's fabulous. So how do people get hold of you, Madlena?
The best way to get a hold of me is on LinkedIn. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn because it's a very professional platform. So connect with me on LinkedIn. I am hosting soon also a free LinkedIn event, Activate the Power of Your Wellbeing. So we will be together for 90 minutes. I will announce it. I'm just creating it. As I said, there was some work to do with moving to a new apartment so that people can feel what it is about. And just like you said it, I feel in my heart that right now to spread the message of love is essential, and to show people how little energy it requires and time to uplift the energy in the space and in the energy of the people who are in this space. It doesn't require much effort. It could be really just a smile or a small exercise to uplift the energy, so that people leave this event, meeting, webinar, workshop, however you want to call it, with an uplifted energy, knowing that they belong to a small or a bigger group of people, and of course belonging to this beautiful creation of divine called humanity. Aren't we blessed to be a part of the humanity? So the best way to do it is to connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a request. I personally answer. I don't let any virtual assistant do it, so that I can feel the energy of the people. And I can tell you that I was very, very surprised, even for myself. I connected with a gentleman, and I'm reading his words, and I feel the energy of how heavy it is. So, and I'm not judging anyone, but energy speaks louder than words, right? You can feel what's going on. And so, and I'm very happy that social media has now opened, every social media, including Instagram, Facebook, and so on, but particularly LinkedIn has done it in a way where we have become more just professionals. We have allowed ourselves to show our humanness, and this is a beautiful interactive way. Overall we are human beings, right?
Absolutely, and full of love.
Ideally, yes. And we all are. I always say there are no bad people. There are hurt people and there are blessed people. And hurt people have the tendency to hurt other people, not even consciously. And blessed people have this natural desire to bless other people just by being themselves. And the purpose of life is to move from the group of hurt people, because we all have been hurt to some degree in our lives, into the group of blessed people.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. I'm going to spell your name because some people will be listening to this on an audio platform. And whilst the information will be there, let's spell your name. So it's Dr. Madlena, Madlena Kantscheff, which is Kantscheff. Dr. Madlena Kantscheff, thank you so much for your time today.
It was absolute pleasure for me. Thank you for the invitation.